Yes, guys. So, welcome back to Hair System DIY. I've got a very special guest on today. This is Sam, who I actually met through the Facebook group, which is, I'd just like to say as well, that Facebook group it's a really great group. It's very supportive in general. I will put the link to it in the description box below. I'm a member of it. Sam's a member of it. It's got about 3,000, I think, members now. So it's really growing. And as I said, the community itself is really quite cool and supportive and that kind of thing. So, Sam, thanks so much for giving me your time today. And before we get going, I'd just like to say Sam's got his own YouTube channel, and it's called Spartan V. It's really good and it's also really funny. I actually enjoy watching a lot of the videos. The one done today was really enjoyable to watch, talking about sort of trolls and keyboard warriors and that kind of thing. So um, it's got a really sort of comedic role in it, which is fantastic. A couple of tutorials in there, so I would urge you guys to check that out. I'm going to put that link as well in the description box below, so please do give him a subscribe and check out some of his videos. So, Sam, thank you. How are you doing today, mate?
Oh, not too bad. Thank you for having me today, Adam. It's been one of those times where summer's nearly here. You get the hot weather, but it's just not fully there yet. But I'm excited. I'm excited for the summer. That's my
Oh
big thing
yeah,
at the moment.
yeah, yeah. What part of the UK are you in, by the way?
So I'm based in Surrey.
Oh, okay,
Um,
that's not far from me.
so yeah, whereabouts are you?
I'm in Sussex,
Oh, okay, yeah, yeah, so yeah, not
just
too far
beneath
at all.
you.
Yes, yeah. I'm just on the outskirts of London. You're on the outskirts of us. So yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah, pretty
not
much,
far.
pretty much. Yeah, the weather was good today, actually. We're getting there slowly but surely. We've had a bit of rain. We're getting the April showers, but today I went out and I went out in the country and there was bluebells everywhere and the sun was out, and that's when you know that summer's coming.
Oh God, yes. I cannot wait. I cannot wait for that proper sun. UK
Yeah,
sun,
yeah,
even if it's just
absolutely.
for a day.
No, honestly, mate, and it's like when you got the system going as well in summer, it just feels fantastic. Talking of which, tell me, when did your sort of hair loss start? And I suppose, what did you try before you sort of came across hair systems and that kind of thing?
Yeah, so my hair loss started at quite a young age. I'd say in my early 20s, I started to get a receding hairline at the front. So yeah, both sides there started to go back. I used to style my hair any way I could. Um, and it went quite slow for a few years. I'd say about 3, 4 years. It wasn't progressing too much. And then it was like a light switch and it just went massively progressive, really quick. So I got, you know, balding at the back. I used to have a mate who used to, if I was going down the stairs, he would do this thing on the back and go, and stuff like that. But he's one of my lads, one of my mates, and it was normal. Um, and so every time like I'll be say trying some clothes on where they have like the 360-degree mirrors and stuff in there, and then you suddenly see this big bald patch. And I was like, oh god, yeah, I'm not liking that. And then I was thinning more at the front as well. So that was when I was at a point I was like, I want to try and hide some of this. So I started off using the hair fibers. So, just sprinkling it all on the head at the back, sprinkling it at the front, being very delicate, praying that it doesn't rain. And that was like my first journey to try and hide my baldness that was coming. So I used that for years and years. I used that. Even on my wedding day, I used a lot of it. So I could have a nice picture, don't show any baldness or anything like that. And it got to the point where the front part of my hair, the bit that I used to sort of swish over, that got so thin. And I think this was by between 25 and 30, somewhere between that, it got way too thin. Even styling it, for me, it just didn't look right. I couldn't really do anything with it. So I shaved it off. And I was like that for years and years, shaved my head. And I did used to think about it from time to time, but then it got to a point and I was like, I miss having my hair. And the only way, for my personal journey that I felt good was when I was in really good shape. So for those that might know Ricky Hatton, he was one of these boxers who would, when he come to his boxing season, he'd be in the best shape of his life. as soon as he finished his big match, he put on loads of weight, was really unhealthy, and then come to boxing again, he'd do the same again. I was very much like that person where I was so up and down in weight. I'd have spouts where I would lose weight, I'd put on the muscle, and then I'd feel, oh, I look quite good and everything. But as soon as I lost that shape, I'd look at myself and I felt like I had this really oval. I've got quite an oval shaped face, and it used to get to me. And then yeah, it sort of got to a point where I was like, I've got to do something about this. It's not that I just wanted to. I felt like I needed to for me. It wasn't anyone else looking at me. It was me looking at me in the mirror. So I wanted that self-confidence back in myself. And that's when I first found out about hair systems. And so at the time, this wasn't even necessarily on YouTube where I was looking at it. This was just me just looking on the internet and finding there was hair system places. There's a place in somewhere like Wolverhampton or something, and they were like, they would say, "Oh, hair system will last like 9 months, and just got to do this and that." And it was like, "Oh my god, this looked really good." And then a thing came up on Facebook for me, and it was, "Do you want to be?" One of those adverts that sort of said, "Do you want to be like a trial person or model for a hair system?" And I was like, "Oh, you know what? I'm just gonna go for it and give it a try." And I got to that point where I was like, "Yep." And then they emailed me back, and it all went from there. And it was like a what you call it, not a salon, but a hairdresser, standard hairdresser, men and women, and they were just starting to do it. So I went for my first one, and it was placed really badly on the first time. It was really far back,
Eesh.
because the owner of the company was sort of saying, no, you have to follow a certain line and all this lot, and it looked awful. And I didn't say anything at the time. It took a couple of days, and I called him back, and the hairdresser himself was like, yeah, I'm really sorry, because again, he was just following what he was being advised to do. And then I went back a week later, and he got it done again, and I was really, really happy for it to be done. And that started my journey of wearing hair systems.
Fascinating. And what was the name of this like salon or clinic or whatever it was?
I can't remember the name. It's a big company in the UK that
It's not Hair
that
Repair Club, is it?
no, it's not Hair Club. Oh
Okay.
God, I'm trying to remember the name. I completely forgot who they are. They are
Mm.
quite big in the UK. They have a few salons,
Mhm.
but yeah, I can't remember who they were. So
Is one thing I picked up on when you were explaining sort of your journey towards sort of getting your first system was you said it was sort of like almost like you being hard on yourself when you were like looking at yourself in the mirror when you're losing your hair and stuff. And that resonated so much with me. It's almost like I think we are guilty of being our own worst critics when it
yeah,
comes to this kind of thing. And when, for instance, we look at ourselves in the mirror, what we see might not necessarily be what other people see. But at the end of the day, for us, it doesn't really matter because what matters is how we feel about ourselves.
yeah. And I think that's something that's so important. And I've tried to explain to a lot of people, sort of say it's not for you or for that
Yeah,
person or everyone else. It's for myself. I suppose you could look at it from a mental health point of view.
absolutely.
So to be a big self-esteem, I suffered a lot from depression and stuff in the past. That's completely unrelated to being bald. But, this is something to sort of say, like, I want to look in the mirror at myself and see what I feel like is me at this time. I can't deny it might change in future. I don't know, but how I feel now and have felt for quite a few years. As soon as I got that hair system on, it's like that is me. That is
Yeah,
what I see, and that's what brings my self confidence, and that's what makes me happy to take a picture. Whereas before, like I hated having pictures. It's a
yeah,
bit like someone gets their teeth done or something else. It's the same thing. It's like you get your hair on, as to say, and you
literally.
feel great. And it's like, this is me. This is who I feel I am.
Yeah,
And yeah, you do it for yourself, and that is the big thing. A lot of hair system wearers are, isn't it? It is for them. It's for, your own, what you feel is like, your image that you want to project on yourself, and, you know, project that on others, because your confidence from having that hair system will shine through when you are speaking to people or doing something or taking a picture. It reflects, yourself.
100%. And also, if you compare men and women, and you look at women and they, women wear wigs, if they've got alopecia, if they've had chemo. A lot of women just wear sort of hair extensions and stuff like that. They might have eyelashes done, and they're not judged for doing that because it improves their self-confidence. So I always think, why on earth would men get judgment for that? We're effectively doing something to boost our self-confidence, exactly like they do to boost their self-confidence, but they don't
Yeah,
get flack for it. And I don't understand why we get some flack for it. It's never made
yeah.
sense to me.
It's a bit like, like the video done today about the trolls, because I think a lot of guys worry, I think different to like women compared to men. Women are very much, to try and project that beauty on themselves to feel really good with how they look. And with men, it was very different so many years ago. It's like, no, I've got to be a man, I've got to be manly and do this and do that. Whereas, now it's like there's a very balanced society. So men can want to feel as good in themselves by looking at themselves as women do. But they still feel like there's this whole past of being like, I've got to be this man, I've got to do this, and I've got to show strength and all this like this. And it's just trying to ignore what people have said. I've told everyone I know I wear a hair system. Even if I've met
Man.
someone who they didn't know, I brought it up because I generally like letting people know what they are.
Hmm.
And again, I think a lot of people get worried about what other people are going to say, especially when it comes to trolls and stuff like that, which is why I do those sort of videos.
Hmm.
Because you shouldn't be ashamed of having this, because it's normal. Like you say, women, they wear makeup, eyelashes, all their wigs and everything like that.
Hair
We are
extension.
just sticking this on, and that is a lot less than what women wearing. It's like, men wear makeup now, and it's all very normal, as it should be. But
Yep.
why isn't the hair system? And that's what frustrates me, is just sort of like, just love who you are, accept it. And if people find out, it shouldn't matter too much, because if they are decent people who aren't from this old generation who've been brought up to be like, no, you've got to be this person, they will always understand, and they'll give you compliments. And that is the big thing
Yeah.
with hair system for me. It's just self-acceptance of it, and just don't care what other people think. It's all about you, and you feeling better about yourself.
100%. And I'm interested, what the people that you've sort of told, like, what was their reaction?
Yeah, no, it was really good. Like, my family, when I very first got my hair system, like the second time, because obviously the first one wasn't great, I I hid that for a bit and I didn't show them. But the second time I got it done, I sent pictures and they're like, "Oh my god, it looks so different. You look like a different person." And a lot of people that I sort of tell, they're like, "Yeah, I can't really tell, and it looks really good." And it's just compliments. I don't get any negative feedback from it. I might have times where I've messed around too much with played with it and it's looking a bit dodgy, but that's me. That's what I do to experiment. But 99% of the time, it is just constant positive feedback that I
Right.
get, because it shines my confidence through to them.
Hmm.
Because I don't feel like I'm hiding part of myself anymore. I feel confident. I'm like, yeah, I've got my hair and everything. Like I say, bald. There's nothing wrong with being bald. And people might say to us, "Oh, yeah, you shouldn't say this because people are bald and they haven't got these options." Like, well, we are actually bald. We've just got this on our head.
Hmm.
But yeah, this is the this it's so hard to put into so many words. But yeah, confidence is the key, and it shines to other people, and they will notice it, and they will be like, "It looks great."
You know what? Sometimes it's, as hair system wearers, it's easy for us to forget what it was like before wearing systems and how much of a struggle it could be. I mean, for me personally, I suffered a lot of severe anxiety. Um, I don't have male pattern. Well, I've got a bit of male pattern baldness, but it's mainly a condition called trichotillomania, which is a chronic hair pulling condition, which I've had since I was about two. And so pretty much all of my life up to sort of wearing a system, I had these massive bald patches all over my head. And the amount of severe anxiety, I got bullied as a kid, the trauma sort of related to that and stuff. We kind of forget, I think, how bad it was before we had a system, because now we've just got this every day and this is life, like this is normal for us.
Yeah.
um, but we forget how transformational it was for us when we first had that moment. I mean, for you it was probably second time that you had a unit on and you're like, this looks really good.
Yeah, yeah. It is. It does. It does. Like it is. It's like a life-changing moment when that happened, because I went for a period of time where I took it off and I was bald again for a while, um, and part of that came down to just how life was working. I think you keep going back to the hairdressers and everything like that. So once I worked out how to do it myself, then that's where I felt like my true journey started, because I had the taster before, and then I lost it, and then I was like, no, I want it back.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think this is something that is so key for people, because if you can learn to put it on yourself, you can find a barber and stuff to cut it, but if you can just learn to put it on yourself, then that is an amazing start to your journey of having hair again.
Definitely,
Um, and
definitely.
it's oh,
Saves you a lot of money as well, you know.
oh god, yeah,
You know,
yeah,
I know guys who, they go to their salon every 4 weeks and, they're paying about 100, for a regroom, and they could be saving. Imagine how much you could save over a year if you just didn't do that every
yeah,
4 weeks. You'd be saving over £1,000,
yeah,
just from not having to go to a salon for them to take it off, clean it, put it on again. And yeah, it's a bit of hard work in the early days, but as I'm sure you'll agree, after you've been doing it a while, practice really does make perfect. And I mean, I'm certainly not perfect. I get it wrong sometimes, and I'm still learning.
yeah.
But I think you have to go through that process to get really good at it.
Yeah. And I think if time can be on your side on something. So I'm the same as well. I'm definitely not the best person out there on hair systems. There is thousands of other people who have been wearing it for years and years and years, and they are brilliant. And they're the people that, as we know in the Facebook group, where we can feed information from.
Mhm.
Um, but it's, to try and share, your journey with everyone, and to try and help people on that journey, because it's getting so popular now and it's picking up so much momentum that, again, when it comes to like YouTube, it's such a brilliant market of information. And with, the more channels that come along with hair system wearers, then myself, you, Jake, and hair by
MHE,
Curtis, and yeah,
yeah,
it's getting bigger now, and it's getting really good. And that's what I really like to see, is that there is a lot more coverage of it now. It's
yeah,
becoming more normal. So the more people that do stuff like this, the more normalized it will become, and the more happy people will be able to wear it. And I think it will get to that point where it is just normal,
yeah.
and it won't even be questioned. Even if someone knew it, just won't even be questioned. So it'd be a normal part of life.
Yeah, yeah, no, 100%. And I think it's great as well that we've got these YouTube channels because, when I first started wearing, there weren't any of these videos teaching you how to take off a system and put it back on. I just was sort of learning off the hoof. So it's great that we have these channels now where we've got these tutorials whereby people can basically teach themselves watching these videos how to do it without paying extortionate fees at a salon, which is
Yeah,
awesome. I wanted to ask you about your current system. So tell me about that, what it is, what it looks like, how long you've had it.
yeah. So this is Levivid. So I partner a lot with Levivid as per my videos. I partner with, like, probably like yourself, so many different people. But for me, I found the quality of the Vivid has been so good. The actual quality of the hair, and the longevity of it. So my current system, I think it's called Keanu. I can't fully remember. It's basically like a point 0.6 or point 0.8 mil poly perimeter. So it goes all the way around. It goes in the middle of the head and to the front. Then I've got lace on 4 parts. So this is my favorite style of system. So the reason why I chose this system and why a lot of my systems are not like this is because the poly perimeter is easy to put a tape on. It's easy to clean. It's easy to put, back on. But then I do a lot of exercise, so I get the breathability in the lace. And because I very slightly hide my hairline, I don't have completely full exposure where it's like pulled right back. So I don't have to worry massively about the completely exposed hairline. So I did want it brushed back and stuff like that, which I have done before. I did go for a lace, but I have had a couple of ultra thin skin systems that have been brilliant. But for me, because you always got to base it on, what's going to work within your life. For me, time is difficult. There's so much going on in my life that I have to have a poly because it's the quickest way of doing my hair system, and it's so easy. Like I sort of say, over a period of time, we get quicker and quicker at it, becomes easier and easier. Still time there that you've got to do it, but yeah, this will be, my system, and I'm quite lucky with my hair. It's always been dark brown, so it's quite easy to match. I always go, if I go wherever I go, I'd go. It's usually the same. It's like a number 2 dark brown that I would go for. It usually blends in pretty well. I've been out in the sun in this a bit, like when we've had the sun out. So it has started to fade. I've had this for about 3 months now.
That looks good for 3 months. Like the density's looking
I,
good. As I said, the hairline
yeah.
even looks good. I wouldn't
So
have
that's what
thought that was 3 months old.
Yeah, see, that's what I like about the Vivid systems. That's I get a lot less minimal shedding on the system, because I don't style my hair like this all the time. I might have a whole week where I make sure I don't wash it or anything. I get to the 7th day, I'm like, right, shampoo, condition, and then I might not do anything for another. I go through that same routine every week, but I might not style it. It's only if I I'm going out somewhere or doing something, then I will style it and everything like that. But like I say, yeah, the fade has happened, so I've got a dye kit that I'm gonna dye it, because I've still got some time with this. I reckon I've got like another month or 2 out of it, and then that's when it will be just dried out massively.
Yeah.
Again, because I abuse systems, so it's
Yeah. Get
yeah,
all the hair
that
gel
is.
in and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, yeah. So whenever I'm doing like my YouTube video, I'm always like style, blow dry, and it's like, yeah, do
Yeah.
not advise everyone else to do as much as I do with it.
I, I think what you said as well is like so true regarding you've got to get the right system that will suit your lifestyle. And you've found the right one for you, one that takes minimum maintenance because you're a busy guy, you don't have much spare time. I'm guessing you maybe do a rebond every sort of 10 to 14 days, something like that.
Yes, yeah, around about every 2 weeks. Yeah.
Yeah. When things start sort of getting a little bit loose and you're like, okay, I really need to change it now.
Well, that's the thing because I do like where I might do some weights and I'll do some running, and then yeah, it gets to I left it too long on my last one, to the point where I actually started irritating my head because I just let the glue melt, and I should have changed it about a week before, but I left it like another week again purely because of time, and everything was mad, and yeah, it's like I don't advise that. So yeah, like normally I would do it like every 2 weeks, even if the hold is still there, because I use the ultra hold tape, and
Yeah.
that holds so well for me. And but still, yeah, what normally is I'll take it off, so that way it's easy to get the tape off, and then you can do a nice fresh install on it.
Yeah. I would say with the ultra hold, don't stand near any open flames. I had a I had a really, really bad I went to this sort of bonfire a couple of years ago and I was wearing ultra hold. Didn't realize it was flammable. I was standing right next to the bonfire and my hair started going on fire and I was like, what's going on here? It's because of the ultra hold. But it does hold well, just as long as you stay away from open fires.
Yeah, that's the thing. I've tried a lot of different sort of glues and tape. So, you know, the people I fit for other people as well.
Oh, do
So I've got
you?
a friend, yeah, so
Oh,
I've
nice.
fitted for some other people who, you know, were just starting their journey. So one of my guys on my videos, is going back a while ago, he actually does stunt work. So it was quite a big thing for him to have this and everything like that. And I tried tape on him at first, but tape just would not adhere to his head. So he has quite an oily scalp. But tape would not work for him at all. So he went on to glue, and oh my god, like his glue lasted longer than what it would on me. So, like you say, going back to that previous thing, not one size fits all with
Yeah.
all these different things. For me, tape works so good. Glue does work well as well, but tape is amazing. But yeah, and it's just part of it as well. It's because it's really easy. I don't have to worry about doing a the hairline or clean up or anything, and it lasts until I have to change it again. But for him, like the glue was just sort of like ideal,
Yeah.
and went perfect. But like you say, you have to be careful in some situations. Don't go near any open flames. Whereas a glue you'll be all right. A lot of that's like the water based
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah.
So
And all that
yeah.
kind of stuff. I'm gonna have to wrap it up soon, but I just had a question for you for anyone who might be thinking about getting a system, hasn't quite taken the leap yet, feels a bit anxious about it. What advice would you give to those people?
Yeah, you know, it's very difficult to look at it from a big overall point of view because everyone is so different in regards to their circumstances. But what I would say is it is so worth trying for the first time. So one thing that I would say is someone is thinking of doing it is watch YouTube videos. Doesn't matter who it is, just watch tons and tons of hair system YouTube videos. That's exactly what I done to get an understanding of how it all works, how to cut the base, how to put it on. It is so worth doing it if you want to do it. And if you're worried about the cost or anything, go on eBay. You get them so cheap for your first system. So exactly what I done. I went to eBay. I think my first system cost me about £110.
Wow.
Uh, and that's my very first system. You can still get them cheap. Obviously, the hair quality is nowhere near as good as a lot of the other bigger places, but it's a brilliant starting point to try because if you know you can get it right on that, then you can do exactly the same on the other ones. I would say it's worth the leap because it can change your life for you. It can bring out your confidence, make you feel a lot happier when you have a picture taken. You know, like I say, it's no problem being bald. I've got loads of friends who are bald and they're happy as Larry, but it's something that's worth taking a leap on. You know, it's a bit like the situation that you're thinking, should I or shouldn't I? What's the worst that can happen in this? You've just got to shave your head after if you don't like it, and you're back to being to where you were before, and you've lost maybe a little bit of money, especially if you're buying from eBay. You know, it's something worth taking a leap for, and it could, you know, change your life like it has myself, and I imagine for yourself as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
For you being this person who can suddenly go from being a bit shy and nervous about situations, suddenly being like, yeah, you know what? I feel confident, I feel great myself, and that will boost everything else in your body. Because, like you, I suffered severe anxiety and everything like that. And the hair system for me was one of the things I got, you know, got rid of and helped one part of my anxiety
Mhm.
massively, and that was the self confidence part. It just, yeah, like I say, it's worth doing if you're thinking about it and you're very close to taking a leap. Give it a try. It is. Oh, I wouldn't go back now.
Yeah, well, what a great way to end. And thanks so much, Sam, for giving me and my viewers your time. It's been a really, really great chat, and I'm really hopeful that maybe some people watching this video might have seen us talking about it, seen the journeys that you've been on, and be like, you know what, I'm going to take that leap now because I feel like I'm in the same boat as Sam was, however many years ago. I'm going to take that leap. I'm going to try a hair system and see if it works for me. And that's what I'd always encourage, anyone watching this who hasn't worn a system yet and is thinking about it, is suffering from anxiety as a result of their hair loss, and it's really harming them, socially and that kind of thing. I'd really encourage you just to take that leap and give it a
Yeah,
go, because at the end of the day, even if you don't like it, you've lost a couple of £100. So what? At least you've tried.
Yeah,
So yeah, you know, I'd always encourage people to at least give it a go and see how you get on with it. Sam, mate, thank you so much. Let's definitely keep in touch. Thank you so
definitely.
much for
Thanks
jumping
for
on
having me,
tonight.
mate. It's been really good. I like
And
the fact that we can get that message out together to the hair system
yeah,
community and the people who want to try it.
absolutely, mate.